and rolling.
Alright, so we're here today at Wolf Creek Brewery doing a little food. Our favorite, of course, the hummus trio, and I'm actually drinking a Renegade today. The boys over here are drinking a little bit of the Golden Eagle, which is kind of the favorite around here. Great guest, Chad Skrederstu from Sand, Snow, and Street. Sorry.
Yeah. So I grew up in La Crescenta. So I'm a native of California, about 15 minutes outside of downtown. Went to Cal State Northridge, got my bachelor's degree in kinesiology and then master's degree in kinesiology, and certified strength and conditioning specialist. And that's actually how I got connected with those. We had a similar mentor with Dr. Loy from Cal State Northridge, and been training for about 8 years at a small studio, and then the last 2 years I was a personal training manager at Equinox and Palos Verdes. And it's really brought me back to my two loves, which is action sports and working with underprivileged kids.
Awesome. Yeah, that's the other thing I forgot to mention. Obviously, we have a tie in there with Cal State Northridge and our graduate school and Dr. Loy and all those great people over there. What do you think of? People ask me all the time, about my experience there. When we get out and we're practitioners in the real world, you learn a lot on the run. You're learning from guys that are in the field. But I always go back to my foundation, what I learned in school, in your undergrad and graduate school, for the science portion. I think people don't understand a lot of times that we're in essence scientists and practitioners that have that scientific background, rather than somebody just in there winging it, right?
Yeah, and I think that's perfect. It's the science and the practical aspect. And from going to school, it gives you that science base where we're able to kind of weed through all the new trends and see what's actually efficient. But then it's that practical aspect, and that's why I respect what you're doing so much. And see that you've spent hours in the gym, and myself, I've been working out since I was 13 in the Gold's Gym and doing things wrong for 5-6 years. So that's what I really want to try to give these younger athletes is teach them the correct way to do it. But it's just like what you're doing. Our programs, this is what we do because it works, and there's no luck involved.
Absolutely. So it's kind of like the thing for, hey, all you youngsters out there. I mean, there's really a need. People always ask about that. Oh, your C.S.C.S. and your master's degree and stuff. What does that hold? I mean, that's kind of where we start from on our foundation. But so Chad's obviously been through, and he's been working in the studio settings, working in the big corporate gym setting at Equinox as well, and kind of doing his thing now. But tell us a little bit about your website with the Sand, Snow, and Street, and what you got going on that. I mean, it's a pretty cool site, and we're trying to get that out there, and I think it's really impressive stuff you got going.
So Sand, Snow, and Street, we're working with snowboarders, skateboarders, surfers, motocross, and BMX, and we're the first one of the kind. Essentially, there's other organizations that work with those individual sports, but we're capturing all of action sports because it's an area that I grew up with and very familiar, and it can be the same application that it's in baseball and football. Because as kids growing up, when we were 13, 14 skateboarding, we were always getting arrested and getting in trouble. So I want to take these kids underneath my wing, get them conditioned, but then also keep them out of trouble. So it's kind of twofold. And then we teamed up with Michael Surreal's Excellence Through Exercise Foundation, and we're working with underprivileged kids to get them physically active on a national and global level.
Yeah, it's pretty good, pretty cool stuff, and I know Michael's doing some really great stuff. Michael's out in Whittier area?
Yeah, and he's also from CSUN. So.
Yeah, another CSUN connection. I mean, CSUN's starting to pump out. All of a sudden, we're starting to pump out some serious practitioners all of a sudden.
And that's the key that I can give to the guys starting out is sit behind the smart kids in class. It's like, I feel honored to be working with those, but you've been through this, you've done this, so I just try to take everything I can from you, and there's no need to recreate the wheel.
Well, it's funny because when I was in Chad's situation, his age coming up, that's the same. I mean, I would go on and jump on the mic, guys like Mike Boyle and Rob Rogers and Robin Pound and these guys that were doing the stuff in the field. And I think that's, with your science background and all that kind of stuff, you kind of create, you're going to create your own niche. And I really believe, from the first time I met Chad, I think that I just had this great feeling that we're looking at something big here coming down the road. So I wanted to make sure I grabbed him before anybody else did, and say that at least I helped in the discovery process. But you've got some pretty cool stuff going on, man, and I know I talked to you a little bit about that with some TRX stuff, but tell us about what you're about to embark on here at the end of this month, and just kind of your plans in general. You know?
Yeah, so I'm stoked. We have a trip planned. It's called Project 3SG, so it's Project Sand, Snow, and Street Global. I'm going to be traveling around the world for the next year. I'm going to spend 4 months in Europe, 4 months in Asia, 4 months down in Australia and that whole Pacific Rim, then 4 months in South America. And the two goals of the trip are to implement action sports programs, get knowledge from strength coaches, doctors, fitness professionals, and bring that back to the U.S., and then work with underprivileged kids. I'm going to get into the slums and the hoods of all those neighborhoods and get them moving to see what see what sticks, and then bring all that back. So it's kind of a cool way to start a company on such a global level. And it'll be humbling to take things way back of doing Thai boxing that's been around for thousands of years, then implement that into our training.
That's huge. I mean, that's going to be, I mean, I'm pretty jealous. At 43, I'd like to pack up and be able to do that right now. But this is obviously the perfect time for you personally. I know you're trying to sell your car and everything else.
Yeah.
Get out of Dodge right now.
It's crazy because we're blogging on the site, and it's like the next blog will be what do you do when you're leaving for a year, and I live down in Hermosa Beach. And leaving everything there, but it's just a once in a lifetime opportunity, and that's what I kind of came to. There will never be a better time to do it than now.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think the amazing thing is, I'm trying to hook Chad up with some of my contacts across the globe, in the UK and down the road in Australia and maybe even in Asia. They just happen to all be like bartenders and guys that work in pubs, but we're going to try to see if I can actually dig up some actual strength coaches and physical therapists and sports medicine people in those places. But I'm telling you, I think that one of the greatest things is from me going and speaking in South America and up in the UK, Newcastle, and going originally from Hong Kong, being able to see what's going on there and see what we have, and you'd be amazed sometimes to see, they're doing great stuff, but maybe they're a little behind what we're doing. And I think you're going to really find that, especially with those types of, the sports that you're looking at, especially with surfing. It's so huge in South America where I was, and in Australia, I can only imagine. So I think you're going to be able to really meet some people and maybe open a lot of eyes. Tell us about you're going to go down there, you're armed with what, like a foam roller and a TRX and just your know-how, being able to kind of diagnose some movement stuff.
Yeah, it's almost feel like a samurai, because I'm going down with my TRX, my foam roller, and my ladder, and it's going to show how, if you want to call it functional training, where you can do all those movements, all that work, kind of like in your book, you can be doing that work anywhere you go, just with those three things: a TRX, a foam roller, and a ladder. And so I'll be using all those elements, and then kind of digging in to local gyms and working with local surf clubs, but that will keep it pretty simple. And that's the whole idea, to keep this simple and show people you don't need a whole lot of equipment to get work done, and keep it simple to what actually works. This is what we do. You don't need a bunch of fancy stuff, and getting back to our science base.
Absolutely. I think what's going to be really cool about this venture that you're doing is you're taking the flip camera with you, you're taking your computer, you're going to be uploading stuff and video blogging. I think that's going to be what people want to see, and I know I'm really going to promote that, on my Facebook and my blog and my website.
But I'll be blogging everything on www.sandstonestreet. You can just sign up there. I'll be uploading pictures, videos. So it's going to be pretty cool.
And on Facebook, people can get hold of you on Facebook as well?
Yeah, on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter. Got a real good web guy, so we're still dialed in. So it's gonna be humbling more than anything, just to see how people do
Absolutely.
things.
And thanks for coming on, man. It's a pleasure to have you, and we'll see you around the globe, man.
Yeah. See ya.